if you can stay in the present moment, right? If you can stay in the center of your vortex, then would you age?
That is a complex construct question, because I think there are many factors, conscious and unconscious, that go into it. There's a series of books that I really love called Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East. You're probably acquainted with it.
Yeah, I am.
Jared T. Spalding, written in 1926.
Hmm.
Scientists went to India to prove that the so-called fakirs were fakers, that they were just doing magic tricks to influence people to give them money, basically. And they described finding real masters that could do amazing things, uh, even just go to lunch and manifest their lunch by waving their hands,
Hmm.
you know, and many other things. And one of the things they describe that some of the masters could be documented at a particular birth date and be hundreds of years old and look much, much younger than that. So I believe there is a very big consciousness factor in the ability to simply stay in a biologically young body much longer than at a different state of consciousness. So I think it's a series of consciousness factors, which of course involves clearing the unconscious conflicts, personal and ancestral, that create limitations and also create biological issues. And to the degree that the psyche is cleared and consciousness is expanded, then among the many benefits can be staying in a young biological body much, much longer. And I'm sure the subjective state of time is much different in that state of awareness than the usual workaday reality.
Hmm. I thought there was a quote in there that said to make God, which is the the universe and the intelligence that or the forces that operate the universe, to make God alive and vital to you, you must think and know that you are God. This is the divine science of your being. And I find that really fascinating because, in the Vedic science of consciousness, Vedanta, they tell you right away, or at least I was taught right away, that you don't have to evolve to be, you already are that eternal being. So it's kind of like a dream. When you're in a dream at night, you think you're the dream self, right? And you experience a physical body in the dream, and you experience space in a dream, and you experience objects in the dream. But the whole thing is occurring in your mind. You are the greater consciousness that's having the dream, right? And that's Vedanta is saying the same thing. This all is an illusion. It's also just is it's as etheric as a dream, and it's occurring inside our consciousness. So we think we're the human, but we're really the container. And so Vedanta uses your unexamined logic the unexamined logic of your experience to show you that, to help you expand your awareness to that. So as over time, as your human mind expands and realizes that I'm the container of this, then you start identifying as that God self, right? You start identifying as the container of the dream instead of the dream self, which is this. And when that happens, you activate, in my mind, you're activating new genes in the physical body. But you then also you experience reality differently because the information transfer from the field, which is your mind, to the physical being, your human mind, is greater. And you're also in the present moment when you're doing that. You experience the present moment more because your awareness is focused on the present moment more because you realize that you're in a dream. You are realizing that this is occurring inside your consciousness. So it's that expansion of understanding of who you are that allows you, and what reality really is, that allows you to stay really present and start identifying as your eternal self, and then that changes new chemistry in the body, or changes gene expression in the body. And when you're more present, you experience time less, right? You're in the eternal now. So then you don't age.
Well, to the degree that someone is in the state of awareness where they really are the eternal now and aware of more dimensionality than just the typical 3D reality that our
Mhm.
sense organs allow us to do, that would be intrinsically a way to slow it and experientially stop time. If you stop it in your perception, you can shift your biology in a similar way. So I think there's a lot to be said for that. So there is a lot of discussion about being in the now and the concept of the eternal now, that there's actually only one moment that ever exists, and all of time is collapsed into a single point. And it's just shifting your awareness along the continuum of eternality from the beginningless beginning to the endless end, that you create a sense of the passage or progression of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's really interesting, because if you are in the present moment and you are understanding that this reality is occurring in your consciousness, and you're the field, and the field being your consciousness, then when you stay in that present moment, and if you think of the body as a reflection of your understanding or of your mind, right? So if you stay in the present moment, you know that you are the container. So now the physical body will behave differently, and you'll experience it differently. It'll feel less dense. Certain genes are going to start turning on. And it's interesting, because I know you're familiar with the guys at RSF or ISF, Nassim Harame's team.
Yeah, we're
I,
friends.
huh?
We're friends.
Yes. um, I heard William talking about certain neurons in the brain that are um, turning on dormant DNA. That I think I think at this time, I don't think he had evidence of it. I think it was just something he was thinking about that is possible, but that these proteins will turn on, and they become active, and they keep us entangled with the field more.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So, where do you think that the, the current, or where do you see medicine going
Huh. How do you mean that?
in terms of this type of the technologies and understanding about health and disease and aging? Because would you say that aging is really just, or disease is really just the body aging?
It's more than that.
Mm.
From the psycho-emotional standpoint, a disease is simply the biological expression of an unresolved unconscious conflict, personal or ancestral, and the brain's way of giving the body what it needs to survive into the next moment.